DC. We're here in Miami at IT Expo East. I'm joined by Christian Goffi, Managing Principal of Avaya Professional Services. Thanks for joining us today, Christian.
Thank you, Janice.
So tell us what's been happening with Avaya.
Well, we had a wonderful 2010. From the point of view of innovation, we had over 50 product introductions into the market, which is very exciting. So we see 2011 as a big evolution path for us. And as a professional services unit, we kind of see ourselves as a tip of the spear in wanting to take all the value that comes from all that innovation that's been pumped into the market and now be able to answer the inevitable question of so what, which is, how do we get that innovation and turn it into business value? So we're remaining true to our promise of being fit for purpose for our customers. And from a services standpoint, we have some initiatives that are picking up more steam. We have some new ones coming into play. In 2010, had a big focus around user adoption, and we continue down that path. We're also continuing down the path of the video strategy, that high definition, low bandwidth, the whole Avaya Flare experience concept. And we're also looking into some relatively new areas, such as social media, which is some of the areas that our customers have tapped into us and said, hey, can you help lead the way in such a topic?
Why is there such a big focus on user adoption?
Well, to us, the user is king. And we see such an explosion of endpoint devices coming into place, with tablet PCs, smartphones, applications. In the minds of the IT leader, the user's needs tend to come to the forefront. Now, in the old days, and if I can use a phone as an example, a phone could have over 100 features. But the average user only knew how to use maybe 5 or 6 things, and we could get away with that. In this new age of technology, software-driven products, user-centric mentality, if we just follow that concept of if you build it, they will come, we feel that the business value of a product just isn't going to be realized. So user adoption is huge, and what we are trying to do is help IT leaders put together a plan that goes beyond the training of an administrator to administer a platform, and goes into the user, understands the segments, and by understanding that, we know which products are applicable to each segment, and we create a training plan that suits their needs. And when you have a high adoption rate, your probability of meeting success for the project goes up as well.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned social media.
Right.
What's Avaya's direction on social media now?
Social media, that's a very interesting question. And first, let me try to define that a little bit, right? Because there's an internal view of social media and an external. So internal, we see social media as, one of the key components, one of the new key components of a collaboration suite. So we see, the concept of unified communications took steam many years ago. But now social media is also, the concept of social media that was made popular in the consumer market is penetrating into the enterprise, and IT leaders are seeing the benefit that can bring to them. So defining an internal social media strategy can bring great benefits. And the traditional view of social media is very much external. It's thinking about the Facebooks, the Twitters, the wikis, the blogs. And coming from an Avaya perspective, having such a strong footprint in contact center is, how do we take what's being said out there and how do we operationalize it? How do we get it into our machine? That machine being the contact center. So social media integration into the enterprise is a big deal for us. We feel that 2011 is going to be the year for that, where companies take the promise of social media, which we feel right now is very disjointed. Most companies aren't doing much about it, but they realize the potential. And the ones that do, it's very disjointed in that they may assign a few folks to address it. Here, log on to Facebook, see what's being said, and tell me if I need to respond. But when you do that, you're not able to make that bridge into how do I monetize on the opportunity of social media. So we feel that in order to have that discussion, we need to first talk integration into the contact center and see how we turn it into a profit center type of mentality. So we see 2011 as a big year for social media.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you're here to help IT leaders with their tough decisions. Expand on what you meant by that.
Okay. So, there's certainly no shortage of pain points and issues and problems for IT leaders today. Everything from virtualization to, is the cloud friendly to me, internal cloud, external cloud. There's also no shortage of potential solutions for them. And that's, to us, that's the very definition of being fit for purpose. So it's not necessarily that, here's a product and it's one size fits all, but let me understand your business drivers, let me understand your pain points. That's where consulting truly comes in. And let us put that into, what we call a roadmap, a strategic roadmap that, if you do it right, you can create it in a way that over time, it takes the shape of a self-funded roadmap. So if you do it right, the benefits that kind of roadmap can bring you far outweigh the capital costs that are needed to put that in place. And in the process, what we find is that, we take on that persona that customers are asking for us, which is, be my trusted advisor. I need a vendor who's truly my partner. And we find that following this path, we get a lot of benefits out of it. The customer gets a lot of benefits out of it, and it's a win-win situation.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing with us today.
You're welcome, Janice. Thanks.
I'm Janice McDuffie with Christian Goffi. Thanks for watching.